JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, June 25th, 3:26 p.m. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P is slightly in the green here. Nasdaq's up about 1/4%. Dow's down about 1/4%. One of those, I don't know if I would call it a frustrating session, but after the last two sessions, it seems like especially well, small caps are taking on the chin today, and some of the names that normally that have rallied have kind of taken a breather. So at least for me, obviously the lemonades. Well, Roku's struggling, still green here today. I just want to see some follow through, and unfortunately today it seems like some more chop. But I guess the good thing is we're not down 1%, 2%, or the crazy volatility. It's in a very tight range. Early in the day, it was about a 0.2% range. Now it's about a 3%, not 3%, 0.3% trading range. Which, in all context, going back to April, I mean, gosh, what was it, 7 to 8% trading ranges? It might have been more than that. I have to go back and look. So that's only a couple months ago. Anyway, Nasdaq's don't throw away from all-time highs. S&P don't throw away from all-time highs. NVDA is going to probably close at all-time highs. I think the data was at $1.2 trillion in market cap added in NVIDIA since the April 7th low. So just impressive stuff. I mean, how it's crazy. I always, especially when Apple, back when it started its massive run years ago. I don't know how many years that might be, but it always used to get me when like Apple would move 3 or 4%, and it'd be like, oh, Apple gained 500 billion in, or not, that's exaggerating a little bit, but 30 billion in market cap today. I'm like, how is that company misvalued that much? Those are kind of things that go through my head, but it is what it is. That's interesting stuff. It just seemed like a couple weeks ago, right? That's how recent it feels like, where everybody was calling that was it for Nvidia back with DeepSeek, and then it again with the tariffs, and then the China situation, the what are they, the cool chips? I forget what the chips they use that were particularly just used for China to circumvent restrictions in regard to security, and then of course those got pulled. What that was a $2 billion revenue hit, some crazy stuff, but. They've been able to climb the wall of worry, just like the market has. All right, so that's kind of the market. So you take a look at the upper Bollinger Band on the SPY, it's 607.74. We got it to 608.61 today, and now we're sitting here at 607. Not much, right? I mean, not much in a way. If headlines either, of course, you have, I mean, Trump continued to do his normal stuff, especially, Fed Chair Powell, calling him some names again, and then, saying, oh, there's 3 or 4 candidates in the pipeline that they're looking at. This is probably going to go on and on. The thing is, it's like Fed Chair Powell speaking. He's testifying in front of the House and Senate, yesterday and today. So it's funny. It's like he talks about because he sees it like on the news. All right, so that's kind of like the market's yields are lower. Good sign. Dollar actually was stronger from it, but that's lower as well. Then Micron after the close today, and I mean with Nvidia at highs and Micron a massive run since its April lows too. Hopefully just a decent quarter, doesn't rattle markets. And we have PCE data Friday morning. Nike reports tomorrow too after the close. I don't know how much impact that'll have on the overall markets. All right, so that's kind of that. So just quick on some individual names. First is FedEx. So there were names I was watching at the open. AVAV, which of course in hindsight, I was looking at the premiums at the start of the week. I was going to trade AVAV I didn't realize there was earnings, right? And I was looking at 230 calls. I'm like, wow, these are pricey. And then I realized, hey, they have earnings after the close on Tuesday. So I thought, okay, I'll just wait and revisit. There's no weekly strikes, and then the increments are $10, which makes it more difficult to trade for an option trader, in my opinion, right? I like to see $5 increments or 250 increments at minimum. It makes it a lot easier to find a decent risk reward strike. AVAV doesn't have that, so it makes it difficult. And then, sure enough, great earnings. And right off the bat, the headlines are guidance this week, and the stock was down in the after-hour session for a little bit yesterday, and then started to bounce in the morning. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice bounce play at great earnings. I think it trades back over 230. And then, sure enough, it starts ramping right before the open, and boom, off to the races. I'm trying to find some strikes, and by then, the calls were just insane anyway. So, a lot of times when you get the calls at the open, it's already got an insane premium bump. So, even if it does rally a little more, if they don't get into money, it's just as the day goes on, those premiums are going to erode. So I just passed there. But FedEx, watching that one too. Nice bounce. I was hoping it was going to hold 212, 213 in the morning. It didn't. Start to melt higher into the open, all the way up to 220. Opened at 220, then dipped to 217. Then it was chopping around for a little bit around the 10 o'clock hour. And then finally looked like it found some support and started to break over 220 at about 10:15 or so. I said, oh, this is it. I think it's ready to go. Went and got, I was looking at 230s, but I figured better risk reward on the 230, 250s as a lotto. And then it started to, well, actually dip back to 220 and then started to take off all the way up to 226. Used some of the move to close out, some for 100%, and then another batch for over 200%. And I just held the last few. And then sure enough, it was 226 by about, it looked like it was going to start to just continue to melt. And then it came under pressure. I didn't see any headlines or what have you. And that was in about 12:30 or so. And it's kind of been chopping around, sitting here at 222. I still like it to the end of the week, and there's still plenty of time on the call. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it to continue to head higher. And if you look at the daily chart too, I mean, you can make the case that it can head into the mid 230s if it finds a bid here. So I don't know, it's not a name I normally trade. So I don't know if I'm going to add some strength into next week, but maybe if there's strength tomorrow, I'll add some calls into next week for continuation. That's FedEx. And then some of the other names I'm in. So Lemonade did what it normally does, except unfortunately this time the Bears took control and the Bulls couldn't find any buyers, and down 7% here today. So lucky, I wouldn't say lucky, but I'm happy I locked the rest of those 50s in yesterday. Still holding 55 freebies, July 18th. So some nice profits there, and then freebies here. So I'll just continue to hold those. If you look, and I don't have the trend line here, but it's still up and to the right, right? So the trend is still heading higher. You don't want to see continuation tomorrow, because then that might kind of negate the possibility of a break and run to 50 bucks, but still love the story, the short interest. And I think it trades much higher in the coming months. So I'll continue to look for opportunities on that one. But I think some of the move here today is like the small caps. And you take a look at the IWM, it just, small caps can't find, it's like, I've been waiting for how long? Similar to biotechs, waiting for them to go. And small cap, the IWM is down nearly 1% today. So hopefully that changes, because when it does, some of these smaller cap names will start to really be fun to trade. Just quick on other names. DELL actually just went to the red just now. It was sitting solidly right at the highs of the day at 130. I don't see any news or catalyst, but it's reverse course, just $2, still holding the 130s. Those are freebies, so those are stress-free. I'll just continue to hold those in. I was looking to get some strikes over 120, but the premiums just don't seem to be coming into the call. So I don't want to be in a spot where I add another position and that doesn't gain premium, even with the stock heading higher. So I'll just be patient there. Roku all the way up to 85.30 at the open, then the reverse course went into the red into the afternoon, starting to bounce here. So green close here today. I think that bodes well. I'll continue to hold my strikes there. And then PayPal, disappointing as well, right? Look great at the open, 74 bucks, then boom, hits lows at 2 o'clock all the way down to 72.42. It's sitting here. I'd love to see a green close here on PayPal here into the end of the day. The good thing is my calls are still, they were down just a couple cents earlier. Let's see what they are now. I didn't even pull those up. So, in lieu of trying to add some more strikes, I'll just continue to hold those. Yeah, they're in the green now. So I'll just continue to hold those July 18th calls. Solar Edge is green here today, but I'm not going to touch that one. I'm trying to think of some of the other names I've been looking at. Yeah, Fubo, always interesting, right? Back in COVID days, I don't think anybody knew what Fubo was. I think it was a SPAC deal, but I just don't get why Fubo can't get going with that deal with Disney, Hulu Live. I mean, Hulu Live was trying to branch out. I just don't know. Is it having a big drain on their? Are they not profitable? And is it a big drain? And when Disney came in and did that deal for the 70% stake in Fubo, some of it was like they gave them $150 million to cut off their credit, like to pay off the credit. I've been watching Fubo, and it's like one of those names that you can make the case that, hey, maybe it's $5 plus in the coming weeks and months. And you go look out and say, oh, January 26 calls interesting on a risk reward basis if you really think eventually it's going to break out. But that thing's been stuck since March. So and maybe at some point it does. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. I'm still looking at pool calls here. It's all the way up to 302 at the open, and then it's just been chopping around again. It's not the most volatile name. Doesn't have a lot of volume, so I'll probably just hold off on that one. And that's it, folks. Reddit all the way up to 150 at the open. Another name I've been watching. I'm like almost went and got some strikes, and then boom, 154 by 9:30 or so, and it's been down. It's off $12 off the highs. Also of note today, it seems like it's like mega cap day today, right? You take a look at Google, Microsoft. Is Apple up today? I think everything outside of Tesla is green today. It's almost like today. It's like some days we have these days where it's like these small cap, high shorted names run, and the big cap, mega cap names sell off. And today it feels like the reverse. So maybe it's just rotation. Who knows? But all right, that's it, folks. Let's have VKTX. So premiums still look good on the August strikes. My calls are still well, they were a minute ago, still in the green. So nothing really changes there. I mean, my July strikes obviously have come down, but the data doesn't encompass the July date unless it does. I mean, who knows? You never know. I mean, the second half of the year starts in 3 trading sessions, so uh, data can come out at any time. All right, have a great day, folks. I'll be back. Rock and roll.